Hey, and we're back. You're listening to Gadfly Radio with Martha Montelongo, Ben Boychuk, that's me, and John Seiler. So, Martha,
yeah,
you were off last week, and you were supposed to be off this week, but you couldn't possibly stay away. So, how was your trip? You were traveling. You were exploring the mysteries of Central Coast California.
It wasn't that I couldn't stay away. I mean, Dan wanted to get back because he digs what he does, right, at work, and they've got all kinds of stuff going on all the time. So they're adding machines and learning new machines and adding production and expanding a line, and so there's a lot to go to that keeps him really engaged. So we got back, but when we were up there, I mean, we traveled up the coast, up Highway 1 we were in Santa Cruz and went up to Año Nuevo we went as far as Pigeon Point, and then we went another day across or up Highway 9 all the way to Saratoga, from Santa Cruz over to Saratoga, and then over, I think it's called Saratoga Road, and then to Los Gatos, and then came down 17. And then we did another day where we went out to Gilroy, over the Hecker Pass. Mm-hmm. So country roads, mountain roads. We came back on the back roads, going through Corralitos, and it's all farmland. And there's boutique farmers and some old families, and old family farms, and then it was a lot of fun, but it was kind of interesting. There's a lot of I have a college graduate son who's living at the house right now and trying to figure out what he's going to do. It's not so. I mean, it isn't. It's too bad that there aren't that he didn't do vocational stuff, because he's just not excited about sales. He hasn't found his niche yet. And it's the conventional wisdom is that you have to go to school and get higher degrees to get a decent job. Right. But there's even people with higher degrees who aren't employable at this point, right? I mean, but so, and that's because it seems like the only place that's hiring is government, especially in California, even though we're bankrupt. Right. And why aren't there more jobs like? Well, Dan, for example, started at an entry level in manufacturing, and he's worked his way up through management. But it was both, a good work ethic and a curiosity about the way things work, and now a curiosity about the business and management. And you can be self-educated, but is there an opportunity for that on a mass scale? It seemed like all the kids I saw, they're all working to cater to the rich in Santa Cruz and in Northern California, catering, waiting on tables, etc., going to school to get those higher degrees. And will there be something at the end of the rainbow where they can afford to live in California?
Maybe the tips are better there.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the direction that we're going in, and John writes about it all the time, and so does his crew at Cal Watchdog, and so does Stephen Greenhut, and so do you guys. I mean, it is the market for. The private sector job market is shrinking. Manufacturing is shrinking in California, and the only place that's growing is government jobs, despite the fact that we're bankrupt.
Right. Hey, John, remember when we were talking last week, we were talking about all the pie in the sky ideas to pull us out of this $16 billion deficit. Facebook, remember? Facebook's supposed to save us, right? Facebook IPO tanked and closed at $34 a share yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's going down today, too.
Yeah.
And the recent report last month, jobs declined in California.
Yeah, that's
fewer jobs. So
is that news? No. Are you surprised?
Well, it went up, the number of jobs went up for like 8 months in a row, and everybody said, "Oh, we're back," but no, we're not back. It went down again.
Yeah, it's pretty grim, and it seems like what the elected officials, both locally and at the state level, their solution is to push for this massive tax increase on what the so-called rich. And the so-called rich are people like middle class or professionals, white collar professionals. They're the majority that would that are going to get hurt the most. I mean, if you're rich, really super rich, I mean, it's not. So you don't get a new car every single time. Maybe you drive your Mercedes a little bit longer,
Right.
or you buy a smaller yacht than the bigger yacht you wanted, or but when you're middle class and you've been paying for inflated costs for college, and you're paying more in taxes, and now your taxes are going to go up, and your sales tax is going to go up. We've been saying it for so long. You're squeezing the middle class. You're squeezing but we really have put a dent in the quality of life for the professionals in the private sector that are the bulk of the tax base, and so it's shrinking, and there's fewer. So where do they think they're going to get this money? They think if they just declare you have to pay more taxes that people will do it, and then what?
Well, I was reading something by Gil Cedillo, the assemblyman, and he was saying that if we raise taxes, then businesses will come here because they'll have better services to take care of their people.
Yeah,
That's how they think.
Gil Cedillo will have more money,
Right.
more money to spend on lavish dinners
On
and
patronage, basically.
and prostitutes, and I don't know if he's into the prostitutes, but so many of them are, or affairs or what?
On pensions, about $4 billion from the general fund is going to pensions this year.
What percentage is the pensions, the pension costs, and to the budget?
Oh, it's going to be $4 billion, and the budget, assuming they get what they want, is $91 billion. So it's about 5%.
Okay.
And it keeps increasing. A decade ago, it was about $1 billion.
So
that's a big increase.
This tax increase that everyone in government is pushing for. It's not to keep the status quo. They're actually increasing the amount of the budget is increasing. The amount of money that we're spending is increasing.
Right.
Is it just for pensions? Is that the additional expense, or the addition? Is that where all the increased revenue that they're expecting to collect by raising taxes? Is that where it's going to go, or is it also going to expanding the size of government?
Education. It's going to it's a payoff in more ways than one to the CTA, to the unions, because it's going to teacher pensions, but also K-12 education budget. So yeah,
it prevents so they don't have to cut education and cut the pensions to the teachers and cut
Right.
the pay.
And do they have to cut? Is that the only way? What are we gonna? Is that gonna solve anything? Is it gonna raise our scores? No. We'll be back. We got to go to a break. This is Martha Montelongo. You're listening to Gadfly Radio with Ben Boychuk, John Seiler, and you.
don't go away.